welcome to the all-time Philadelphia Eagles team. I'm sure all these fans are very excited right now in Philly and around the nation, around the globe. As Eagles fans, they are officially in the Super Bowl this year, Super Bowl 52. Sorry, I was going to say 51, but 52. And this is it. They're in the Super Bowl, and they're playing the New England Patriots. Once again, they're going to play the team that beat them about 14 years ago. So we'll see how that goes, and I think they'll play out perfectly. So it's gonna be a fun ride. Anyway, so let's just take a look at this Philadelphia Eagles franchise. Okay, this organization, they were established in July 8th, 1933, which was 84 years ago by their calendar right now. Their first season was 1933. Now, they play in Lincoln Financial Field, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but they are headquartered in the NovaCare Complex, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They've been a part of the National Football League since 1933. They went through everywhere. They won Eastern Division from 1933 to 1949, moved to the American Conference from 1950 to 1952, went to the Eastern Conference from 1953 to 1969, and the Capital Division there in 1967 to 1969, moved to the NFC, and I've stayed in the NFC since 1970, and I've been in the NFC East since 1970. The team colors, you got midnight green, you got silver, you got black, and you got white. They do have a fight song, Fly Eagles Fly. Their mascot is Swoop. The owner is Jeffrey Lurie, Christina Weiss Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie is also the chairman and the CEO. The president, Don Smolensky. The general manager is Howie Roseman, and the head coach currently is Doug Peterson. Now, they've been the Philadelphia Eagles for 1933 to 1942, became the Phil Pitt Steagles in 1943, and then for 1944 went back to the Philadelphia Eagles that haven't changed since. Now, their nicknames are the Birds. Now, they've won 3 championships, NFL championships, not Super Bowl championships. They have no Super Bowls yet. And I say yet is because I don't know the result of Super Bowl 52. That we'll have to see that on Sunday. I won't be able to talk about it. Maybe I will. You never know. But I am planning on doing a guide to Super Bowl 53, which is where I talk about how teams can get to the Super Bowl next year. What do all these teams have to do in terms of reaching that pinnacle? But anyway, let's take a look at the Eagles. They had 3 NFL championships, 1948 and 49, and one in 1960. They've won the conference championship 4 times. In the NFL Eastern, they won in 1960. In the NFC, they've won it 3 times. They've been in the Super Bowl 3 times, in 1980, in 2004, and, of course, this year of 2017. So they have 13 division titles in the NFL East, 1947 to 1949. In the NFC East, 1980, 1988, 2001 through 2004. 2006, 2010, 2013, and 2017. Now, they've been to the playoffs 25 times. There be 1947 1949, 1960, 1978 to 1981, 1988 to 1990, 1992, 1995, 1996, 2000 to 2004, 2006, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2013, and 2017. Now, home field, they were in Baker Bowl from 1933 to 1935, Philadelphia Municipal Stadium from 1936 to 1939, moved to the Connie Mack Stadium in 1940, went back to the Philadelphia Municipal Stadium in 1941, then went back to the Connie Mack Stadium from 1942 to 1957, traveled to Franklin Field from 1958 to 1970, went to Veterans Stadium from 1971 to 2002, and ever since 2003 they've been in Lincoln Financial Field. This is a team that's hungry for a title, of course, for a Super Bowl, and I think they can get that. I think they can get it. I really do. Yeah. Overall, I believe that this team is going to, this team has a great chance of winning. They have a fantastic defense, and that's something that the Eagles are fantastic of, is names that people don't know much, but eventually they will, because they're a hard-hitting defensive team it's almost like that's their nature of being that Philly team from Philly. They really do. Honestly, they really do work hard, and they're definitely intimidating. That's what they want to get as a vibe. So yeah, you'll see a lot of intimidation with this team as they get more into what every player in every position. All right, I think it's smart where we start with the QB, and it's going to be Donovan McNabb. Carson Wentz is going to pass him because, well, I just believe in Carson Wentz. I think he's a lot better than Brady was ever when he was that age. Carson Wentz is going to be a monster. I really do believe he's got the potential of being, if not one of the best quarterback of all time. And I say that because of what he's been able to do. It's just phenomenal. Just watch him play. He literally, it looks like he's a 30-year-old guy, but he's not. He's young, and I think he's going to dominate this league for a very long time, and it's going to be very scary to watch. I'm just letting you know right now. But yeah, Donovan McNabb is going to be the guy for right now because Carson Wentz hasn't been proven all the way. But once he does, Donovan McNabb will unfortunately be off this list. Right now, though, he is Philadelphia's son. I mean, it's unfortunate about all those injuries he's had, but he played for Philly for 10 years, 6-time Pro Bowler with that. And just overall, he passed for nearly 4,000 yards. He had 234 career touchdowns. He won Philadelphia a numerous amount of games, like 92 games. Like he went 92-49-1 with the Eagles. Like that's not bad, to be honest with you. Like this is a man that did get abused though. This is a guy that got sacked. Like honestly, their line has never been phenomenal, which is a big reason why that Patriots defense was able to get to Donovan a lot more, which was also the ability of why Brian Westbrook didn't have enough, to really get through holes and all that in that Super Bowl. But Donovan McNabb though is going to be phenomenal. If we can get a Donovan McNabb in terms of, the Donovan McNabb, the guy that was elusive QB that can also throw that ball and was able to just be really just an incredible leader, but also an incredible player. Yeah, I think they'll be pretty deadly, especially with what he can do and what he could have done and what he did in his career. All right, now we go to the running back section. We're not doing any fullbacks. We're gonna mainly focus on some wide receivers, tight ends. So just letting you know that right now. Sean McCoy though is gonna be that guy, 6-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All Pro. Just a guy that's really has been there and he's done some great stuff. So overall, I do believe that honestly he'll be fine. But overall, this is a guy that's, come on now. He's played in over 100 plus games. He's been dominating everything. He's been a fantastic running back for the Buffalo Bills so far. But he killed it out there in Philadelphia. At one point, one year, he was the leading rusher. So he's got over 10,000 rushing yards. He's got but exactly 66 rushing touchdowns. But he's also got about 400 plus receptions. So his speed, but also the way he can automatically cut and have the same exact speed is dangerous, and it's scary, and it's amazing to watch, to be honest with you. So I think his value is super high. I definitely see him just really being an impact, of course, in the running game, but of course in the receiving game, and tough guy. He can block. He's an all-around guy. He really is. And so overall, I think what I see is he's going to continuously dominate in Buffalo. I do believe he will dominate in Buffalo continuously. And we'll see how he does in his 30s. But I do believe that LeSean McCoy is one of the fastest, and maybe not as fast as he once was, but I'm telling you right now, he's one of the most dangerous running backs in this league. So having him in the backfield right now for this all-time team is fantastic. Here we start with the wide receivers, and we start with Harold Carmichael as the first receiver on this list. Harold Carmichael played about 14 years. He played in Philly.
except that one year where he ended his career in Dallas at the age of 35, so that doesn't count. But this is a guy that played pretty much in the in the 70s and 80s, early 80s of the Philadelphia Eagles. Just a guy he's huge receiver, so that's fantastic to know. Um, a guy that was like drafted in the 7th round, but his value was high. 4-time Pro Bowler, and won the 1980 Walter Payton Man of the Year. Again, he is part of the reason why the Eagles got to that Super Bowl in 1980. So overall, a guy that's caught about over 550 balls, and he's had over 8,000 receiving yards, 79 receiving touchdowns. It's a guy that's going to do some good, and I do believe that he is going to continuously um, help them out. I really do. He's not the best receiver of all time, but let me tell you, he's definitely not no scrub. I think he's going to do what he's going to do. I think he's going to definitely help out Donovan McNabb, and it's going to be vice versa. It's a big receiver, so it's going to be fantastic to see Carmichael here. All right. The next wide receiver will be DeSean Jackson. This is not the last time you'll see him. Just giving you a heads up. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. Was a part of the Redskins. Did a pretty good job in Washington and Tampa for the most part. But I mean, his heyday was in his 20s in Philly. I mean, he was just a dominant force. Let's be real here. He was a dominant force. Honestly, was able to just be super duper effective. A guy that just, he averaged about 60, 70 receptions a year. He wasn't, the guy. He wasn't an Antonio Brown, but he's a fast guy. He's a fast guy, and he does have hands, honestly. And keeping him healthy, that's the biggest key. I mean, I think he's going to do just fine. I think, having this guy that's got a lot of speed, that can run, and for the most part can catch. I mean, he's had 548 career receptions, so, he's not terrible. He's been in the league for a while now. And he was a part of the all-rookie team in 2008. Overall, I do see him having an impact, of course, and with having Donovan McNabb, which he has played with, I think that'll be good for him. He'll get his numbers back up. Alright, now the slot guy, I guess, is going to be Mike Quick, a 5-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro. That was a part of the Philadelphia Eagles in the 80s and, 1990. Played for about 9 years, had about 360 plus receptions, over 6,000 receiving yards, 61 receiving touchdowns, so he was able to be effective, effective, and that's what you look for. That's what you want, right? Mike Quick, though, like I said, none of these receivers are the best receivers of all time. They've had some injury dealt problems, which might have slowed down their whole process of being a superstar. But I think they'll be fine. I think Carmichael is a huge receiver. He's almost like a tight end-esque. So I think they'll be pretty relaxed when it comes to Sundays, where they could just throw it up to him. DeSean Jackson, his speed, and Mike Quick, I think he could be a pretty good slot guy. Now, this one I pondered a lot because I know Zach Ertz will be on this list eventually in his career if he continues to be productive with Carson Wentz and everything. I believe in Zach Ertz more than I believed in Brent Selleck, but I do believe Brent Selleck, as of right now, is the better tight end, just because he's played the most, so he's rallied and kind of put up more points, right? But in the end, yes, I believe Zach Ertz will pass him. So overall, Brent Selleck, he's played in the league for 10 years pretty much. He's a Philadelphia Eagle still. He's been it. He just hasn't had as much exposure to the field because of Zach Ertz. But this is a guy he's 2 receptions away from 400, and he's 2 yards away from 5,000 receiving yards, and he had 31 receiving touchdowns. It's a man that, when you need him, he's a pretty good, reliable target. And he's had some great postseason games where he's been very reliable. It's unfortunate that he didn't have anything in terms of Pro Bowls or anything in that nature. But I have to say that I think Brent Celek's gonna achieve a lot, and I think I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna do a very good job as of right now. But I know Zach Ertz will take his place, just like Carson Wentz will take Donovan McNabb's place eventually. All right, now for this line, and we're gonna start with left tackle Trey Thomas. Hey, God, that's a 3-time Pro Bowler. Big dude, big dude. Played from 1998 to 2009. His last year was in Jacksonville. Didn't really play much, but this is a guy that's played in 174 games and started 168 of them. Was a part of the team that got to the Super Bowl over there, and he's always been a left tackle, so he's going to be a very reliable guy. And he's been to the Pro Bowl, so you know he has been the best at his position at a point. So overall, to start him out, having a pretty good, pretty big left tackle in this spot. It's huge. It's definitely huge for the passing game and the running game. So I think Trey Thomas will do his part. All right, left guard. We're gonna have Jerry Sismore, a 2-time Pro Bowler, a guy that played in the 70s and 80s for this Philadelphia team. Was a part of the 1988 team that went to the Super Bowl. A guy that's played in 156 games and started 155 of them. Overall was a right tackle, but it was also a right guard. And I think at the right guard position, I think he'll do just fine. And I believe that with his frame and his size, him and Thomas will definitely be clogging up whatever needs to be clogged up, so there could be room for Shady. All right, that center spot, it's going to be David Alexander. No Pro Bowl, no nothing. He just didn't have enough. In the 9 years, there was a span of 5 to 7 years where he was just all the time playing and starting every game. So that's very impressive, and that's the main reason why I'm going to put him in, just because he is as of right now, he's the best center that's come out of the Eagles organization, even with no Pro Bowls or nothing. His value is very high, and I think he's gonna be doing just fine. To be honest with you, I think this line is gonna carry their own, and don't worry too much about this line. I really don't. I think they'll be fine. All right, now that right guard position is gonna be Todd Harriman's. Todd Harriman's is really big tackle / guard that has played pretty much his entire career out there in Philly. Ended his career in Indianapolis, but a guy that's played 135 games and he started 126. Did get injured. Unfortunately, his injuries kind of, withstood everything, and it was ashamed. It was terrible to know that he was getting injured a lot. But I mean, at the end of the day, he did have great moments, and he was able to be a pretty good offensive lineman. So, especially when the Eagles were pretty decent out there in 2008, 2009, around there, when they went to the NFC Championship and lost to the Cardinals. But I think he's going to hold his own. I think Harriman's is big, and that's what I think. This line's big, and I think they can block out some guys. They can definitely block out some ends and linebackers. All right, how about that right tackle, Jason Peters, a 9-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro, nicknamed the Bodyguard, a guy that really you can never get past him. In his prime, you can never get past him. It's unfortunate because he has tore his ACL and MCL in his right knee, so no, he's not playing right now. But just a year ago, he played every game, started every game. So is this question of should he retire? Possibly, but I don't think so. I think he's got he's got a year or two left if he wants to come back to it. Again, it's he tore the ACL and MCL, so that's going to be a long process. So we'll see what he wants to do. It's all up to him, of course, but I do believe he is one of the best in terms of this era of playing football. Played in Buffalo for a while, went to Philly, and was just fantastic. A guy that's played 176 games and started 166 of them. Probably going to get to be a possible, not finalist, but candidate for the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. I do believe in that. I do believe in him. I think his prime, He was one of the best tackles, if not the best tackle in the game. So putting him up there would seem fitting. But yeah, I think in his prime, I think having this line is going to be pretty good, and I think this offense can be pretty good. Can be sneaky good.